Well, ladies and gentlemen, what a time to be alive. GB News here with me, Patrick Christie's from Buckingham Palace as we build up to the coronation, a momentous occasion in Britain's national history. And I'm very pleased that you can all be here to live it all with me. I've got loads to get through, so let's get stuck straight in to one of the top stories of the show. One of the big issues, actually, hanging over this coronation. And that is it worth it? OK, now it's been reported that it will cost around £250 million to put on Saturday's extravaganza, but a report out earlier on says that the whole event will generate a cool £1 billion for our economy. So, I mean, it doesn't take a genius to work out then that surely it is worth it. But get your views coming in, GB Views and gbnews.uk. I can't help but wonder whether or not those taxpayers out there who say that it's not worth it are all just miserable so-and-sos who don't want us to all be happy for a particular day. And some of the stats appear to say that what King Charles is putting forward here is going to cost us around £1.50 per person. I will happily pay £1.50 of my own hard-earned or not so hard-earned cash, depending on the way that I turn up for work every now and again, to have a momentous day like the coronation. Well, to debate all of this, I am joined by former royal correspondents at The Sun. We've got Charlie Rae, and I've also, I believe, got former government minister Norman Baker. Who to pick, gents? I normally go ladies first, but I'll go Norman this time. It's not a comment on you, Norman. Don't worry about that. Do you think the coronation's worth it?
There certainly is, and that'll be
well, £250 million is a lot of money, and of course, if you look back to the coronation for Elizabeth II, at today's prices, that would be £47 million. So it's 5 times the cost of what Queen Elizabeth had, and this is the time when King Charles said he wanted to have a slimmed-down monarchy and a slimmed-down coronation. So it doesn't appear to be happening that way. As regards the £1 billion figure that you quoted, Patrick, of course, we don't know that definitely. That's an estimate. We're much firmer on the cost of it rather than the benefits to it. And of course, there'll be some people coming into the capital, and there'll be a tourist value from that. But equally, there's a day's productivity loss. So it's difficult to work out exactly what that will be. I know that London's not full, and much to my surprise, I've got a hotel room in London tomorrow night for £43, so there's still plenty of rooms around.
So this will all be part of that special. We, of course, will be examining.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm sure GB News got you a good deal on that one for the output that you'll be delivering to us. But, Charlie, I'll throw it your way. Is Norman being miserable?
Well, Norman's entitled to be miserable if he wants. He's a Republican, and he's not going to be overjoyed with the coronation. In any case, I mean, he says we don't know exactly about this $1 billion. Well, to me, on the other side, we don't know exactly the full cost of what it is going to cost for the country, this 250 million figure, because we never know what the security element of it is. I mean, I'd just like to remind Norman that at the moment it costs £1.29 per person in this country for the monarchy. This $1 billion that they're going to bring in, not just for the coronation, but also for the 2 bank holidays and the Eurovision Song Contest, and we spend an awful lot of money on the Eurovision Song Contest. I'd rather see that scrapped, to be perfectly honest, but a lot of people enjoy it. A lot of people will enjoy the coronation, and as you've just said, Patrick, people are starting to get into the mood for the coronation. They're already camping out, and this money that's going to be spent by something like 350 million. That's the estimate, and you're going to have another 300 million each bank holiday, as well as 50 million for the Eurovision Song Contest. I think it's a good deal, and it's going to already the monarchy, and Norman will probably faint at this figure, but already the monarchy bring in 1.7 billion into this country through tourism and various other sales.
Yeah, absolutely. Norman, I'll throw it back to you. I've got some figures here in front of me, OK? So the UK's GDP is around £2.5 trillion a year, OK? So what King Charles is proposing on serving up for us in terms of a coronation would equate to roughly something like 0.004% of our yearly output. That's the cost it would be. But you're not just putting a price on the actual financial cost of it. Like we say, we're going to generate some money off the back of it, and it really puts Britain on the map, Norman. I mean, that's the price we're willing to pay, surely.
Well, I have to come back and just point out once again that it's 5 times the cost of Elizabeth II's coronation, so we have to ask why that is, because that's, even if you're hugely in favour of the coronation, that's an odd figure to have and needs to be justified. Secondly, in terms
security,
of the
Norman, this is a big part of it. Norman, I'm just going to cut in here. I'm just going to cut in here and just say security. We live in a different world, Norman.
Pardon? a different world. Sorry, there's a
It's security, Norman. We live in a different world. We've got more threats.
But I mean, look, I mean, of course the security has to be paid for if there's a coronation. But even if you take the security out, it's going to be twice as costly as Queen Elizabeth II. And in terms of the cost of the monarchy, again, you can argue this is worthwhile or not worthwhile, depending on your point of view. But it's not simply the cost of the sovereign grant, which, by the way, is 86.3 million a year compared to 7.9 million only for the civil list in 2011. Massive increase. It's also all the other benefits that are available to nobody else, like the exemption from death duties, for example. There's no death duties paid on the private gain from Prince Charles from his mother's inheritance, for the Fabergé eggs, the paintings, the racehorses and so on. I don't know why he's exempt from that when nobody else is. So there's a whole lot of indirect benefits and indirect costs as well. And lastly, and just to pick up on the point about tourists, I mean, again, this is not to argue for or against the monarchy, but just as a matter of fact, the royal palace in Europe with the most visitors is the Palace of Versailles, and the French got rid of their monarchy in 1848.
Okay, all right. I mean, Charlie, I'll throw it over to you. I can see you're getting quite riled up there.
I'm not riled up. No, Norman's entitled to his viewpoint. What I would point out about this £86.3 million he's talking about, the sharp rise, as Norman's just been a little bit disingenuous because he knows full well that there was a £350 million spend over 10 years on refurbishment of Buckingham Palace, which is why it's being pushed up to 86.3 million. I still go back to the point, it's still a good deal. You're only paying £1.29, Norman, for the monarchy. And all I suggest is that if you don't like watching it, then just switch off the television on Saturday, shove your earphones in, and listen to some music that you like. It's that simple. But a lot of people will enjoy this. This is a history-making a matter that we're going to be witnessing, for a great many people won't have seen one and may not see one again. It is just going to be a fantastic occasion. And now we do these occasions very, very well. And I think this one will go off without a hitch, even with various people being a bit miserable about it.
Yeah, Norman, I've been out and about speaking to some wonderful people there who've been saying, look, people like you, Norman, are just trying to make their lives miserable. And why is it that you can't be happy?
I'm very happy, thank you, Patrick, and delighted to see you looking so happy as well. And I hope people do enjoy the day if they're interested in this.
You don't seem it, Norman. You don't seem it. You want to tear down. You want to tear down Buckingham Palace. You don't want. You don't want the king to be giving any special privileges whatsoever. I bet you want to tear down the bunting on your neighbour's house, Norman.
I think you're over-exaggerating matters grotesquely, Patrick, if I may say so. What I would say is, look, this is not about monarchy or otherwise, it's about what kind of monarchy. If you look at the other monarchies in Europe, which there's 8 or 9 other monarchies in Europe, they're all massively cheaper and massively smaller than ours. They don't actually have coronations. They gave up coronations centuries ago, literally. The last coronation in Spain was 1555. So we're the only country in Europe with a coronation. So I'll just point out to you that you can have a monarchy, but you can have one which is a lot cheaper than our one.
Okay, all right. Charlie, I'll get you to come back from that. Okay, we've heard a lot of the facts and figures around maybe why the monarchy is a little bit of a rip-off. Why do you really think that it is proper value for money? I mean, what do we get from King Charles, and justify it to us? If the answer is that easy, then we should be able to blow Norman out of the water, shouldn't we?
Because it's our history. This is all part of our history. This is the way we do things and have done things like this for centuries. It's not an expensive coronation, given that he's cut things down. It's not going to be a 5-mile route. It's only going to be 1.3 miles. The soldiers involved, the military involved, is going to be 6,000 as opposed to 43,000. When the Queen was crowned. I just think we just should enjoy this occasion. And I think the King, who's only been in the job for 6 months, is doing a half decent job. And I think we should just let him get on with it. He's got big boots to fill, Patrick. And I think he's never going to be able to do exactly what his mother did. But he's got a good time to, be popular in the country. Let's give him Let's give him a chance.
Okay. All right, look, both of you, thank you very much. I have enjoyed that. And Norman, I will not let you pour cold water on this particular event, all right? But I did thoroughly enjoy your points. Great stuff. Lads, right, Charlie Rae there and Norman Baker. Okay. I just wonder when it comes to people like Norman, you know, he's got a partner there who goes, oh, should we go to the Caribbean this year? Should we go to the Caribbean? Then he does a cost-effective breakdown of why they should just go to that same little village in Mallorca that they've gone to for the last 20-odd years. Anyway.